What's up, chats? How's it going, everybody? It's Tuesday once again. It feels like it happens every week somehow, and we're getting tactical. Welcome back to the stream. What's up, everybody in chat? Looks like a lively crew in there today. Yeah, so these aren't like super new leaks that we are going to be talking about today. I got a couple of people who are asking me to go over the stuff that has both been leaked and revealed. So we're going to do both as we go through the stream today. This is about a week or so old. It is largely rumors, which is I'm less into covering on the channel. Generally speaking, rumors are, they're kind of neither here nor there. We get rumors are a dime a dozen. And only 10% of those are usually actually correct. So I don't typically discuss them, but enough people ask that. I think it's probably worth it. In the future, this is something I think I could do on a live stream. In the past, I've mostly done this stuff in video content, but I think I don't know. This could be stuff I'd be open to talking about on live streams more readily, I think, than just making videos about them. Not really worth all the effort if the rumors turn out to be false. But there's also like a million people making videos about this stuff, so we'll see. But we have a couple Warhammer community articles to talk about. We have a couple of we have some just actual rumor mill stuff. And I think that it makes sense to me to talk about the confirmed stuff first. So we're talking about the Warhammer community articles first, and then move over and talk about the sort of the more unsubstantiated stuff. Ryan G, thank you for the super chat. I don't know why my sound alert isn't working. Oh, is it off? Will that be it? All right. Well, hopefully that works now. I wonder why that happened. Weird. Anyway, let's talk about some rumors. So I have I've gone through and just as a little bit of a peek, a little sneaky peek. I've put down all of the current rumors, the current incarnation of these rumors into a document, and I've put together all the Warhammer community articles. So that's what we're going to start by talking about first. There are a bunch of articles discussing both World Eaters and Death Guard, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at. This is mostly Codex, really like a Codex release announcements. So nothing too particularly surprising here. This is the Sunday preview from a weekend and a half ago or whatever. Talks about the new combat patrols and stuff. I don't know. It's mostly kind of standard. Destro Terminator is the combat patrol. This combat patrol actually seems super sick. Plus a Rhino. Nice. A vehicle in a combat patrol is always a good start. And especially a Rhino that, like, worst case scenario, any combat patrol you can buy multiple of and it feels good. I think is off to a good start. And you're never going to say no to additional Rhinos. Plus, there's a little battle force with fetid blow drones and stuff. That's all normal. I don't know if we need to talk about build outs so far. They come with a cool little Codex case though, a little book case. I like that. That's a cute little guy. I think we will start by discussing Death Guard, and then we'll move over to talk about World Eaters. So this was from yesterday. This is the preview article for the Death Guard Codex. You get it is clarifying that the Nurgle's Gift gains the benefits from Plague Company. So now your contagion auras always apply a contagion. You don't have to play Plague Company to do that. That was a weird thing with Flyblown Host, is that you lost so much efficiency. Like, Flyblown Host is a really cool detachment, but the kind of like whiplash from playing it versus playing Play Company was kind of insane because you're like, oh my god, I lose like half of my both offensive and defensive capacity by losing my contagions. The other thing is that if the faction is built around contagions, you can do more interesting stuff with it. So you could have stratagems potentially that like flip your contagion, stuff like that. Whereas previously, because it was an added effect onto Play Company, which didn't have it on printing, it was just kind of this, it was just kind of sitting there. But built into the army role, I think you could do a lot more interesting stuff with it for sure. First time Death Shroud had been shown in a value box since the Death Guard release. Interesting. That's good, I guess. Everybody's gonna want to buy Death Shroud Terminators, so I think I don't know. It seems good to be. So you get -1 to you can apply -1 to hit, -1 save characteristic, or -1 move, leadership, and objective control. Which all seems pretty good. You declare that during the start of the battle formations step, and that is applied on top of the normal -1 toughness that those units are getting. So it's a -1 to hit effect for Skull Squirm Blight, which is a significant downgrade from -1 ballistic skill, because previously you could stack -2 to hit onto your units, which I feel like, which is just much better. Because you could reduce their characteristic modifiers and then reduce their dice results with the -1 to hit effects. You could get both of them, and who knows? I guess we'll talk about some of the detachment previews momentarily, but I guess we don't know exactly how many like -1 to hit effects are already being applied to the faction. Currently, Cloud of Flies gives you a -1 to hit. Flyblown Host we know is sticking around because that's a Grotsmith attachment, and that has a stealth effect. And so not being able to stack that with the -1 weapon skill, ballistic skill is going to be a big downside. Obviously, it's not necessarily a downgrade for Flyblown specifically because they couldn't do that previously. But it is going to be if Play Company retains its -1 to hit stratagems, it's going to be kind of awkward. Which I, in fairness, kind of don't really expect, but I don't know. We'll see. Otherwise, like -1 save characteristic is good. -1 move, leadership, objective control is really niche, but probably particularly strong into like horde stuff. So like Green Tide, for example, -1 hit's really good against them though. But like if they're massing OC2 stuff and you push it all down to OC1 and mess with their leadership, like that's actually kind of sick. I don't know. It seems okay. You just take the -1 save most of the time. I mean, it depends, right? Like you're not going to do that against demons. You're not going to do that against like a lot of orc builds. You're not going to do that against like there's a broad swath of the game that you're not going to do that against. I feel like that is generally speaking the case already. Is that like 90% of the time you just take the additional AP contagion when you're playing Play Company, but I don't know. Custodians heading on force into -1 damage just fun while lasted. Yeah, for sure. Makes them much less obnoxious to play against. Yeah, but it's gonna be. It seems like it's gonna be tied to statistical improvements as well. So it may be that their actual resilience doesn't really change because it sounds like their actual numbers are going up. You didn't take it against Tyranids? You always take -1 save against Tyranids. I felt like a god every time somebody took the like -1 to hit against me as Tyranids. I was like, my monsters aren't dying. This is the greatest thing ever. As soon as they flip to -1 save, everything immediately vaporizes. This is such a trash fire. Fucking Tyranids, dude. God damn it. What a bad army. I feel like I'm not centered in my camera here. There we go, champ. All right, so we're talking about new detachments now. Mortarian's Hammer unleashes miasmic bombardment. So this is a artillery-focused detachment. Start of the battle round, select the number of enemy units more than 12 inches away from every model in your army. Until the end of the battle round, they are afflicted. It's up to 2 in a Strike Force game. But does it do anything? Wait a minute. What? So the detachment ability apparently just is afflicted a... Oh, okay. I see. So afflicted is a new effect keyword based on the Nurgle's gift. So now you are considered to be afflicted while within range of contagion. I think that's probably a pretty good mechanical cleanup because it lets them do a lot of things that just say, when you target an afflicted unit, do X, which you don't have to say, well, target a unit that's considered to be within a contagion range of one or more units from your army. Which is like how the previous like Hellbrute ability was worked, but now they can just say they're afflicted, which makes sense. All right, I get it. So the detachment ability actually doesn't do anything by itself. It just applies the army ability to new units. And it sounds like the mechanical framework of the detachment is it does stuff to units that are in contagion range that are afflicted. Eye of Affliction, for example, is an enhancement. You can ignore cover targeting an afflicted enemy units. Probably pretty solid. If you can get AP values on the most of the like the bigger bricks of units. Font of Filth gives you assault on a Death Guard vehicle. Probably okay for Plague Spewer guys that had a little bit of a tough time getting into melee or getting into range. I also think, like, generally speaking, Plague Ridge Crawlers tended to have like a sort of like kind of inexplicably short range, especially on their main weapons. Getting assault on those guys is also pretty good. Also, like Mephitic Blight Haulers getting into Melter range with their little Melty Melta is pretty solid. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of like minor use cases for this. Obviously, Death Guard vehicles aren't like the craziest things in the world. We're not shooting like OG like Chaos Forge Fiends or anything, but certainly I think being able to maneuver them is going to be pretty useful, especially since you can like -1 toughness, -1 save something at range, and then push like a Predator to go shoot it, which seems pretty sweet. Shamble-Rot Victorium gives you a bunch of Poxwalkers. In your command phase during battle rounds 2, 3, and 4 in a Strike Force game, you get a new unit of Poxwalkers with a starting strength of 10 into your army in Strategic Reserve. Interestingly, it comes in your command phase, but it doesn't require that you like place them on the table, so you can rapid ingress them and do stuff. It's also just like a really useful set of units for utility. You basically just get to free up your army from utility units. You might take a couple of things to start on the board, but then like for the most part, you're just pulling Poxwalkers off the table as the game goes on, which is kind of neat. Enhancements. It's the least, I don't know. It's like probably the least flashy. I know there has been a lot of discourse about it because of like, you know, people having different opinions about respawning or regenerating units over the course of the game. But compared to like detachment abilities that have like mechanical effects, it's like you play with an extra 150 points. Cool, man. I will. Thank you. Which is like fine, I guess. I would say it's probably on the weaker side in terms of detachment abilities, because a lot of detachment abilities will provide greater than 150 points worth of value if they are a particularly strong detachment ability. If Witherbone Pipes, your Noxious Blightbringers can lead Poxwalkers, adding one to the objective control characteristic models in the unit. Noxious Blightbringers. I'm gonna level with you, Chad. I don't know if that's an existing unit. Is that like one of the Fetid Virion that literally never gets played? No. Yes, it is. It is. That's exactly what it is. Great. Here's the existing Noxious Blightbringer data sheet. I've never seen this model on the table ever in my life. What does it look like? Oh, it's the Bell guy. Of course. It's Bell Boy. Apparently they cost $70 on eBay. Is that real? wait, what? What the fuck, eBay? This bottle costs $70? Are you kidding me? Jesus. Nobody's ever played it. I don't know what they look like. I've never seen one in my life. Why is it $70? Currently gives you reroll advanced and charge rolls, and enemies get -2 to battle shock or leadership tests taken within contagion range of the Blightbringer model itself. And it has a really bad set of melee profiles. Yeah, this guy's really, really not good. If this is like a flat movement buff, I think you might see some play. Reroll advanced and charge rolls is not what we're looking for, though. You can do that with a command point. Oh boy, that's not a very good model, chat. But you can now give it +1 to battle shock test and +1 objective control, which is much more reasonable. Now the current Poxwalkers are OC1, right? If we can push 20 Poxwalkers to OC2 and they regenerate onto objectives, it's actually kind of sweet. Oh, as long as it's not too expensive. That's the problem. That's the thing I would be worried about. Where in the fuck is this unit at? At the bottom. I feel like there is a hesitance in Games Workshop to like undercost plus OC effects, and so a lot of those things get costed at like 25 points, where it should be like 10 maybe, because you also have to take this probably piece of shit idiot in order to unlock it. So I don't know. It seems like it's fine. It's a stratagem. Shambling Wall. In the shooting phase, after your opponent has selected its targets. Is there a period in the middle of the sentence? Ah! King GW. Why? Weird. It's like a random period inside the shooting phase. Target death guard unit from your army is selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks, and a friendly Poxwalker unit within 3 inches of your unit, invisible to both your unit and the attacking unit. Until the end of the phase, each time you would allocate an attack to a model in your Death Guard unit. If your Poxwalker unit is visible to the attacking model and is an eligible target for the attack, no saving throw is made. Instead, a number of Poxwalkers from your Poxwalker unit equal to the damage characteristic of the attack are destroyed. So it's pre-save. So you use the stratagem on target. The effect is pre-saving throw, and it's non-optional. So it's like the worst version of Thieves of Pain ever. Yeah, no saving throws made whatsoever. Instead, Poxwalkers from your Poxwalker unit are destroyed. It's not converted to mortal, so they can't feel no pain it. I mean, probably pretty good towards the end of the shooting phase to keep units alive. I mean, these kind of like redirection stratagems are never like totally bad, but this is probably one of the weakest versions that I think we've seen. This is like the same timing as Iconoclast Fiefdom, right? I think that has like a similar. There's a similar effect, right? But like compared to the Legion of Excess version, it's like way worse. It is. No, this is the shoot into melee, I think is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if another one that has this exact like set of timing requirements. This feels, I don't know, kind of like not very good, to be honest. Yeah. Well, it's 33 proxwalkers, but they're coming off table edges, and you must target units within 3 inches of them. So it's actually like really difficult to get them like into range to use this. They have to be within 3 inches of the unit that you want to use, and line of sight and range of the attacking unit. Because you have to be an eligible target, so you have to be in range of them, right? So you can't like be totally behind them, like strung way out. So oh, and it also, the poxwalker unit also has to be okay. So it doesn't check range when you this is weird stratagem, dude. I think the stratagem is actually really bad. the more I read it, so it checks line of sight when you use the stratagem, but it checks eligible target when you assign damage to the poxwalkers. So like all the other player has to do is do like the old rhino wall thing where they block line of sight from their useful weapons to the poxwalker unit, and you're like, now you can't use the strat because it, like, if my las cannon and my squad can't see the poxwalkers, they're not an eligible target for it, so it can't assign damage to them. I don't know, man. It's not like you're gonna always have counterplay to this effect, right? But I think that, like, given how shooty Death Guard tends to be, you want to be like limiting your exposure in lines of sight anyway. So like, unless the poxwalker's like literally directly like base contact with the unit you're shooting at, it's gonna be really like, it's not. It feels like it's kind of a pipe dream to me to be like, I'd have this always online. I don't know. Weird. It's a weird situation. So you can't be out of range to the weapon that's assigning damage. This is also like splits your opponent's attacking step too. God, what a mess, actually. So like, let's say I am shooting at you. I'm like at maximum range with my unit. Like, it's intercessors that are shooting 40 bolter shots or whatever. But like 6 of them are in range of the unit that the original target.
Ryan G donated $2 through Super Chat. If only the Lord of Pox is turned off range.
Yeah, we'll talk about that guy in a sec. Thank you for the Super Chat as well. But also, like, I think he's gonna be limited on his attachment, right? I don't know if we have attachment units for him. So like, you have like 6 of my intercessors are in range of the unit I want to shoot at, the original unit, but they're 25 inches away from the poxwalker unit. That means that I have to roll all my intercessors separately because half of them can assign damage to the poxwalkers, but the other half cannot assign damage to the poxwalkers. So their like attacks are meaningfully different. Is that like a requirement? I think it is. It must be a requirement for fast dicing that like your opponent can't have effects that are like interacting with that attack. But I don't know if that's specified. I know that you just have the same characteristics and like the saving throw has to be the same. But it's just like it gets really weird. I don't know. It's super strange. But you have to be able to target the poxwalker unit for the wound to be eligible to be passed to the poxwalker unit. So if you're out of range with the attacking model, then you can't do that. Oh my god. What wild. Yeah, I don't know. This detachment, based on these two things, this detachment seems kind of whatever. I guess we'd have to see an updated poxwalker datasheet probably. If they're faster, I think that would help. But like trying to set up all this stuff on a move 4 unit is like, move 4 light infantry. Okay. All right, man. Let's go. All right, so let's talk about the new article. I think we'll probably talk specifically about the Lord of Poxes, and then we'll go through World Eater stuff by itself at the end there. So new article has 2 new data sheets. We have the new characters for both World Eaters and and Death Guard. Also, I want to shout out Lavaz de Horus, that we raid all the time on Twitch. Got a shout out on Warhammer community, which is super sick. Because they did I guess they did like a painting thing where they did one of all the Primarchs, which is cool. I love that Warhammer community is doing like community shout outs like that. I wish they did more of that, to be honest. It feels like it's quite a bit of marketing stuff, but we get less of like the community showcase, and I love that. I think that's cool. Every once in a while they do something like that. It's neat. This looks like a green stuffed base topper or something. It's really interesting looking, but they look good. Lava basing looks on point. Love it. Could use some OSL maybe, but all right, we'll talk about the Lord of Poxes right now. Let's open up his image. I don't think there's any new information here. Yeah, we're just talking about the data sheet. So, he's importantly, right, he's a power armor marine character. And it sounds like the power armor plague marine profiles, say that 5 times fast, are going to toughness 6. Because this guy's toughness 6, the scuttlebutt is that the other units are going to toughness 6 as well. So that's neat. Move 5, 5 wounds, 3+, 4+, saving characteristics, no other real special abilities. He has a plasma pistol. He also has a big sword that's like rad. It's strength 8, AP 2 damage. Don't forget as well that it's he's also providing contagion, right? So he's essentially like strength 9-ish on that thing. Sometimes closer to strength 10. It's like strength 9.5, I guess, reducing your toughness characteristic, which is like kind of wild. So we're seeing these characters that are like slowly progressing back towards like 9th edition damage output. Obviously, if this guy was in 9th edition, he'd be like the equivalent of strength 11 or something. But I wasn't sure that we would be seeing a lot of like strength 8 character attacks that much, or like strength 8 with upside, I guess. It's like a power fist profile, but oftentimes we see power fist profile and those like they don't have any special abilities, but he's essentially devastating, right? Which is I don't know, pretty neat, especially in an army of that's going to reduce your save characteristics. This guy's going to slap pretty hard. He also has anti-synergistic weapon keywords, which is, you love to see. That's great. It's lethal and devastating. So whenever he rolls a 6 to hit, he can't devastate the attack. Sick. But it automatically hits, so or actually automatically wounds. So I guess that's fine. But that's always awkward when you have those two keywords together. He also gives you +3 range to your contagion range for himself. So he starts at 6 inches and moves up to 9. And then has like the Thousand Sun Sorcerer lone operative ability. Now, I don't know if this is actually going to be that useful. He seems like he might be a good like concentrator for melee buffs, because I don't know. It sounds like maybe we'll talk about it when we get to the Rubers and Scuttlebutts. Like the character selection for the army is going to be shaken up quite a bit, and I don't know necessarily how many of the power armor character attachments are going to be quite as punchy. So if you're doing melee stuff with a Plague Marine unit, I feel like this dude's probably the way to go. The downside is that the Plague Marine units tends to play so close up. Shooting at them is going to be tough. It doesn't mention, I don't think, who he attaches into, and we don't have his leader ability. We know he is a leader, but I assume it's Plague Marines. But it would be interesting if he could jump into Poxwalkers and stuff like that, right? Why does he have 6 base attacks? Because he's the Lord of Poxes, my dude. Let's go. He hits nearly as hard as a Norn Emissary. It's true. He has like the offensive characteristics of like card effects. Oh, man. 4+ Involvement isn't a Terminator because he's a Chaos Lord, right? It sounds like they are trying to replace a lot of the generic Chaos data sheets in the faction with bespoke Death Guard versions, and this guy feels like he's meant to be the Chaos Lord equivalent, right? So he has independently strong melee and a 4+ invuln because he's a Lord. So like I would expect him to be like an 80-point sort of like hitter. Oh, you're right, chat. Yeah, it is on the data sheet. So he could be attached to Plague Marines. Yeah. Right, he's not a Virian, yeah. Which I guess the current incarnation of the Fetid Virians can dual attach with the other characters, right? That's what the Fetid Virian data ability does. Or is it that you can attach 2 Fetid Virians? Let's double check. Like the Icon Bearer a Fetid Virian guy? I know that the Malignant Plaguecaster is. Oh no, that's not true. He's by himself. It is the Biologus Future Fire. So yeah, currently any other leader you can attach alongside. Okay, it just doesn't have any. It doesn't care what your keywords are. They can just attach with another guy. So you can probably, assuming they don't change that ability, probably put this guy in with a second character. So he could maybe be getting like lethal hits on 5s with 6 2-damage melee attacks, which is solid. Yeah, and the additional contagion range pretty good too, especially if you like run this guy with like little 5-mans. And it sounds like as well, one of the rumors that we'll talk about momentarily is that the Death Guard Icon Bearer's ability is changing. So like this guy's probably an outlet for like early game sort of contagion push, where you can like put him in a Rhino, like jump him out with 5 Plague Marines, nuke something, but also like infect half your opponent's army. Because like on Battle Round 2, right, he's projecting a 6-inch aura or a 9-inch aura, which is if you're playing aggressively, like probably enough to get a lot of your opponent's stuff in there. It's good stuff, champ. I'm interested to see if they can find a way to make this ability good. I have a sneaking suspicion this ability is not very strong. Maybe if you're doing like reserve stuff with them or something, I don't know, but they're so slow, like they won't actually, if they're 18 inches away from you, they won't actually close the distance. It's not like what we were just talking about, the Shadow Seer, with the Webway Dancer in Reaper's Wager, where they or Webway Warrior, where they like can rapid ingress 18 inches away and then immediately close the distance because they're really fast. He's move 5. Like you'd be like, I'm out of range, and you're out of range of me. So enjoy that, have fun. I'm never making that distance back up. So I don't know how often that's gonna come up. I think this guy's just gonna sit in a Rhino and then jump out and punch someone. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe there is a foot sliding attachment. Yeah, for sure. All right, chats. Should we talk about some freaking unsubstantiated rumors, folks? I put them in a paste bin. These ones are all from a breakdown on Reddit. So thank you to the Death Guard 40K Reddit for putting these together. A lot of stuff is kind of like sort of conjecture. The army's going to be more elite, similar to Adeptus Custodes. It sounds like there is going to be big statistical improvements and abilities for Terminators. So it sounds like the push is going to be Terminators. A lot of the generic stuff is rumored to be removed. And as far as I know, that stuff is also, I think, they said it down here, is missing from the web store. So I guess we could corroborate, right? If we go to Games Workshop, we could look at the Death Guard range. And so, like, there are some stuff like the generic Terminator Sorcerer. Which, yeah, they did say it specifies up, but it might be that that's a new data sheet or something is still up, but it looks like a lot of the other generic infantry is gone. So cultists are not listed as Death Guard units anymore. I think all your cultists are going to magically turn into Poxwalkers. It feels like to me, maybe. Still get like generic defilers, I guess. And I guess open question is whether they have battle tanks. Predators are still listed, so it seems like they're probably keeping predators. But the other thing that people have pointed out is that the Greater Blight Drone, I guess, had been removed because it's a Forge World unit, but is now back and might be returning to playability, which I think is cool. Fetid Blight Drone back on the Death Guard page, so you can actually look what that thing does, because I think it did see some play. I guess it's in the Legends document. Did they not have Legends on the... Oh, here we go. Show Legends. I don't even know where it is. Maybe it's gone. Is this a Legends datasheet, chat? Am I wild? Am I an insane person? I sort of assumed that it was, but it might have been removed before that. No, just possessed. Interesting. It's not even in the Legends document. Wow, this might be totally new, chat. If it gets added back in, unless it's on, it's already on the Forge World document. Halfway down. Oh, is it in the... Wait, is it in the other Legends document? The 30K one? Oh, it is. I was looking for the classic Legends. I didn't expect this to be a 30K miniature. Is that real? That's weird. Okay. Bizarre. All right, well, fair enough. Is it... Can you play this in 30K? Is that a thing? I guess we could find out pretty easily, right? We go to Horus Heresy. Trader, Space Marine, Death Guard. Jesus. Horus Heresy has so much stuff in it. It's because of all the Dreadnought weapon arms, right? And everyone's got 1,000,000 marks of armor. I'm striking out here, chat. Oh, shit. Apparently not. What the fuck? What even is this thing? Where? I'm confused. Get out of here, ad. It's not in 30K. It got ported to Heresy, but isn't 30K. Those are the same thing. I'm confused. Yeah, I'm confused. Why are a lot of the 30K models better than 40K? Because they're more recent for the most part. Either they're Forge World, which has a higher quality than the plastic injection molds, generally speaking, anyway. At least a higher sculpt quality, not necessarily a higher production quality. But then also a lot of it's like much more recent. This guy confuses me. I don't know. It is almost exactly just a fetid float drone. There's a Blight Reaper cannon, which is just the Blight launcher. And it has also a little spit for strength 5 AP 1 damage. So it has 2 guns instead of 1 gun, but otherwise is identical. Okay. This is significantly less exciting than I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, I guess like compare it to the fetid drone, right? And I think the picture's the same. So they both have an identical datasheet ability. Their weapons are the same with different names. The only difference is that the Greater Blight Drone gets a second gun that's not very good. And they're and one extra melee attack, excuse me. This is the current printing of the datasheet, though, obviously. That can change. But, I don't know. I guess it lets you take 6 float drones, kind of, quote-unquote. These are 150 points, though? All right. Not at that points value. just kidding. It's a warp entity living between the realms, yeah. Oh, it has deep strike. Sure. Is that worth 60 points? No. But it'll probably get a new data sheet if it's being reintroduced into the faction. That's weird. It's a weird situation. We'll see if that sticks. Obviously, like, store stuff is often not a super good indicator of what's happening, but sometimes it is. Mortarion has lost his ignore modifiers aura. I guess that's from an article, maybe, where they talked about, I guess, him like fighting into the -1 to hit from Fulgrind or something, I imagine. Points will go up. He was able to kill 10 to 12 Marines in a single turn. Be very strong, but won't be a must take. I wonder if they're reorienting his range profile. I guess they could improve his sweep attack maybe, but he used to have, and now he has the grenade keyword, but he used to have a grenade attack, which was like this insane blast profile in 9th edition. And that's where a lot of his value came from, is like he could shoot his lantern, which was like, it was good. It was a plasma cannon, but it wasn't that exciting. Or he could throw like this insane, like it was like 2d6 strike 7, AP2, ignore cover or something. And I wonder if that's like gonna come back, and that's gonna be where a lot of his output comes from. Destro Terminators allegedly can drop 6 inches. I assume that's not within 6 inches. Just outside 6 inches of your opponent in charge, and all the Terminators have improved to toughness 7. If Desert Terminators are still toughness 7, -1 to be wounded. Oh boy. -1 to be wounded for higher strength stuff, which is what they had previously. That's a spicy meatball right there. Basically impossible to wound them on 2s without any wound bonuses occurring, and without any wound bonuses like baked in. Blightlord Terminators get 2 damage melee attacks, extra strength and AP when shooting within contagion range. I wonder if that's shooting within contagion range or shooting at afflicted enemies. I would actually, I would be honestly surprised if it was shooting specifically within contagion range, because it feels like a lot of what the army wants to be doing is applying affliction buffs, debuffs to people, and then attacking them. Terminators might only be small units. That's true. Yeah, we could go down to 3s and 5s instead of the full big ones. It seems like I think all of the most recent Terminator releases have been 5s only, right? That's the case for Imperial Agents and for Emperor's Children. I don't know if anything else has come out like more recently. I guess like Deathwatch can still go into 10s, but that's like a weird side case, right? Because they're an index. Who knows? That's obnoxious with 3-man Death Rod Terminators for sure. Although it sounds like maybe Death Rod Terminators have a stronger melee profile. If all the Terminators are getting improved abilities, improved melee output, then that might be good. It does feel like Death Rod Terminators like are awkwardly kind of pillow-fisted right now. Oh, excuse me, chat. Sorry about that. I don't know. The Death Rod Terminator's like melee output is good, but it has always felt a little inconsistent. It's the characters that bring a lot of the powerful damage. But maybe if they go down to 3s, they have better stats or something. Like Marines, going to toughness 6 with a new ability. Good, because their ability is currently dog shit trash. Like, it's Their abilities right now is +1 to battle shock checks while holding an infected objective marker or some shit, right? It's like one of the worst abilities in 40k. It's I had it come up one time because I had yeah, while you're within range of an objective marker, you get +1 to battle shock tests. Cool, man. Sick. One time I tried to shadow and the warp them and they passed because of that. And I was like, all right, neat. It's so bad, dude. It's not even like I don't, +1 to battle shock checks would just be like, I guess like a side grade of a leadership characteristic modifier. But it's not even just +1 to battle shock checks, which would already not be that great. But at least useful. It's +1 to battle shock checks with a rider on it. Like, okay, cool. Please give them a new ability, GW. I want them to do a thing that's cool. Jesus. Is their abilities a constant reminder of the state of death card? Yeah. Their abilities, like, it's a reminder to be grateful for what you have, because you could have had release death guard, just a totally non-functional faction. Oh man, good stuff. I appreciate, in fairness, what they have done with Death Guard, because like that faction was so bad at the beginning of the edition, and they just were like, you know what? Mea culpa. We released too many things at once, and we didn't get to playtest at all. We're gonna rewrite the fucking like whole army, and suddenly it's become a consistently strong army over the course of the edition, which I think is sick, and I am all in favor of them doing that. It will not prevent me from making fun of the absolute state of some armies at the start of 10th edition. But I appreciate that they were willing to just be like, hey guys, we're just rewriting this index, dude. It's fucking so bad. We're giving them a million new abilities and like get massive points cost reductions. And now like hull spam Death Guard is like has been a competitive staple for the last like year, which is rad. I like that. Little PSA. Last and maybe least, Icon Bearer may have an ability similar to the current Hell Brute. I imagine that the Icon Bearer will say, while this model is leading a unit, after that, in your shooting phase, after that unit has made its attacks, choose one enemy that it targeted, and they are afflicted, or it hit, or something like that. The Icon Bearer himself, I don't think has any guns. He's just a guy. Oh, he's a bolt gun. So he could shoot at somebody and provide the buff. But I imagine that it's choose a thing that your unit shot at to afflict. Which would be pretty neat. I guess if he keeps a gun, he could be good by himself. But yeah, otherwise. It sounds like that ability is changing, so we might be looking for the Lords of Poxes to get those the extended range, contagion range, like I was saying before. But we'll see. Interesting stuff. And that's Death Guard, chats. Not too much to talk about. Obviously, I'm sure we'll see more as we get closer to release. I'm sure we're probably only a week or so away from spoiler season for the army, and then we'll actually get to see what all these changes mean. I wonder if they talked about the Codex like data sheets on that article. I don't know why I went all the way back here. I have the article linked. Talk about 6 detachments, pages of miniature photography, combat patrol, and crusade rules, as in data sheets. All right, so it doesn't say exactly what data sheets. 42 data sheet cards. Now, I'm sure somebody, I don't know this off the top, but I'm sure someone can correct me. Are there other things included in data sheet cards? Sometimes there's an armory card, right? Are there like army ability cards? I'm not someone who owns any datasheet cards. Although maybe I should, because they seem neat. If we look at the current index, I guess we'll just go. The current index has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 non-data sheet pages and a total of 70 pages. So 64 pages of data sheets divided in half, which is 32 data sheets. So are they gaining 10 data sheets, John? Oh, Combat Patrol is 5 cards. So they're gaining 5 data sheets? Is that right? Am I? Even though stuff is like reportedly leaving? That can't be right. Oh, new demons, of course. Of course. They're getting bespoke demon data sheets. Yeah, that's I'm sure what actually is in there. That's a good call out, chat. You're right. What is the demon selection look like? Oh, this is old demons. That's okay. This should be the same number of data sheets. Nurgle is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 data sheets. And the rumor says that they are losing 2. Math checks out. Oh, losing 3, gaining the Pox. All right, yeah, you're right. So it's 10 demon data sheets plus the Pox, Lord of Pox guy, and then 3 data sheets are leaving. So the Terminator Sorcerer, at least according to that, is a fascinating inconsistency. And maybe our math is wrong. But it seems like that guy's probably not in there. Are there any currently playable Slaanesh data sheets that Emperor's Children do not have? I don't know if I have all of them on out in front of me right now. Just like in terms of comparison. So currently they have Shalaxi, Keepers, Demonettes and Fiends, Seekers. Okay, so they're missing Transweavers, like Mask, Celeste. So they are missing a lot. Okay. Well, if that's the case, and they aren't getting any of these the character Nurgle demons, I don't know where all those data sheets go. Like, if it's only the Graders, that's 2. Plague Bearers, Nurglings, Beasts of Nurgle, Drones, that's 6. You're adding 7 if you include the Lord of Poxes in there. So you're adding, and then also the Combat Patrol data sheets. So you're adding total of 12 data sheets and losing 3 according to the leak. So you should be adding 9 to whatever they have currently, which we just counted was 32. So there's there's an extra card in here that we haven't necessarily worked out. Maybe, is there an army ability card? Could there be a contagion card in there? That's probably what it is. Yeah, again, I don't have any stratagem card packs, so I don't know what to expect in one of those. Seems like that's probably what we're looking at. So what did we decide? It's probably drones, beasts, nurglings, plague bearers, Great Unclean One, Rodriguez. Seems like pretty likely. I think that's probably what we're looking at. Anyway, chat. Should we move on and talk about World Eaters? Is it World Eaters time? Is it time to become Angie? Pull up some rumor mill stuff. Some new detachment rules. New what do you call them? New packouts, value boxes. Do you think they'd split the Plague Marine data sheet to like melee Plague Marines and ranged Plague Marines? I don't think so, because Plague Marines don't have. There's no like, as far as I know, there's no like all one way or all indifferent way like loadout for them, like there is for a lot of the other units that got split into two. It's like it's always some number of guns is what you're required to take, and then a couple of melee weapons if you want them, which feels like a war gear upgrade to me. Yeah. I would expect that to be changed. Like if they could take more than two plague weapons, like heavy plague weapons, then yeah, sure. Just want cheap Ultramarines, yeah. I do like it when they split those and then they give like a cool special ability to the shooting guys. Because it does feel like most of the time those units are just like, the shooting guys are ablative wounds for the melee guys. And you're like, all right, cool. I'm not that excited about my strength 4 gun. But like intercessors are a great example of like a unit like that, of that archetype that works really well, in my opinion. And that would be neat. Bedded blow drone with melee weapons being its own data sheet? Yeah, I could see that for sure. Split rumor about rubric marines for bolter rubrics. I could see that. See, that is a good example of a unit that like the entire unit can swaps its weapon selection, which is usually what they've been doing when they've split a weapon. Like the example on top of my head is like Acolyte hybrids, right? Where it's like you would like either take all hand flamers or all auto pistols to keep them cheap. And splitting that data sheet makes sense. Like rubric marines make a lot of sense, but because plague marines are like they're just special weapon guys. Rather than a full unit war gear swap, it doesn't seem to be the paradigm. All right, chat. Let's talk about World Eaters. So here's the new pack out stuff. This one is 35 data sheet cards. At least they could have made it. They should have done 36. Or 30, I don't know what they would have done. I guess 32. They'd have to cut 4 data sheets to make it a multiple of 8. Death card is 42, right? So they're a multiple of 7, which is perfect. Yeah. A multiple of 7, let's go. But it's not a multiple of 8 on World Eaters, which sucks. Getting a new battle force that has 8 bound and jackals. Plus the new guy, the new Slaughterbound guy. That guy seems sick, so we'll talk about him momentarily. A bunch of jackals is good, though. And then Demon Prince, Lord of... This is a combat patrol? Jesus. The Demon Prince and a Master of Executions? Imagine, like, playing, like, your basic bitch, like, I don't know, Guard Combat Patrol or something, and you're, like, playing against this like, fucking Demon Prince running at you. Like, cool, man. You got it, buddy. Okay. I think for the very brief time we were playing Combat Patrol at the start of the edition, I remember the World Eaters Combat Patrol in particular being really, really silly. Just like 3+ base saves in a universe where everyone's just a basic guy with a bolter. It was like, ugh. And then they were just so fast to like cross the entire tiny Combat Patrol table in like one turn and kill you. It was like so brutal. Oh man. Emperor's Children Combat Patrol has flawless blades. All right, yeah. One of these things is not like the others. This is like 10 Space Marines, some flawless blades, and a Lord Exultant versus a fucking like a 10 dudes, 10 more dudes, and a Demon Prince. Okay. I think that might be better, chat. That's a good value though. Assuming that the Demon Prince is sweet. Oblivion Remaster is dropping soon. Is there news about that? All right, we're gonna take a momentary break here for me to learn about the Oblivion Remaster. Oblivion is the one of the only role-playing games I've ever actually completed in my life. And I don't see any information about it, but I guess I don't know. Actually, I have no idea what to expect. But from a nostalgia point of view, I'm actually hype. I'm hype as fuck about that. As long as they change the weird like balance scaling, because I remember very distinctly, I had to change. I felt like such a failure. Because like halfway through my playthrough, I had to change the difficulty because I couldn't kill anything anymore, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And it was because of like their horrible balance, their horrible level scaling, where like enemies would scale faster than the player would, because they would scale based on like your total skill points rather than like your combat skill points or something like trash. So you had to like they in order to actually be able to like play through the game without like manually rescaling it, you had to like do this like really chicanerous like build tree where you like didn't level until you hit a certain point and stuff. It was like super stupid. There's a bunch of math I didn't understand, and I didn't know that at the time, but I learned about it later, and I was like, oh, that's why I was suddenly fighting like ogres in every fight, even though I was like this just like little idiot who was good at lock picking. Like, what the fuck? It was wild. It's on the Bethesda YouTube channel. All right, well, I'll watch it later. We're talking about World Eaters right now. We're talking about World Eaters, not the world-eating threat of the Daedra. Rumor is that World Eater Demon Prince profiles have 2 more attacks on both profiles. Sweep has -1 AP. Walking Demon Princes have reduced their stratagem. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we'll talk about that momentarily. After we talk about the detachments, we'll talk about the stuff that's locked in first. So there's a lot of conflicting information about, at least from my perspective, about the Blessings of Khorne. The Warhammer Community article says that it has undergone almost no modifications to the one in the Index. 1 or 2 of the dice values needed to deploy your Blessings of Khorne has changed, but otherwise they're still the same. The rumor, and I guess we could take a peek on the thing. I think I have it written down here. The rumor is that a bunch of shit has been removed from the army ability, but according to Warhammer Community, that is not the case. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they're just like talking around it, and they're like, that's one of the like almost not a modification. Which, I don't know, throws a little bit of shade on that rumor. I'm not sure. Because that is a big change if they're like, hey, all your speed buffs got removed. Like the buffs that you took most often got removed, but you get like army-wide devastating wounds or something. Like, okay. But according to Warhammer Community, that's maybe not the case. It's confusing to me. But definitely take the rumor articles with a grain of salt. Or the rumor mill with a grain of salt for sure. Where some things get spicy is detachments, is what they say, which is certainly something to say. Gore-Trank Onslaught is a vehicle-focused attachment where you get +1 to charge and lance when you disembark a vehicle. And according to this, that's sick. So we'll get a bunch of rhinos with berserkers in it. Allegedly, berserkers have gotten a statistical debuff, but lance certainly makes it a little bit more exciting. I guess you can also do like 8-bound in Land Raiders, probably, right? Is like another potential use case for that. I don't know if you necessarily need +1 wound on those guys, but we'll see. Maybe they're just scared of the shitstorm. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what to think, chat. I don't want to say that like I feel like the rumor mill is like, you know, I don't know which one's correct. Obviously, like the Warhammer community articles we know are inconsistent, but also it's not like we haven't been burned by listening to random rumors on Reddit, right? Like, like I don't know. I feel like the truth is somewhere in the middle, probably, where there's probably some more mechanical changes than they're letting on, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. It definitely feels like some very political wording. Almost no modifications. And there's still the same assault troops you know and love. Right, but being the same assault troops doesn't necessarily mean that these assault troops have the same abilities. Right? Like, they could just be... They could be the same units that we like, but they're way slower. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like they would have said, like, you know, Total Carnage needs double 3 or more instead of double 4 or triple. But otherwise, all like the abilities are the same. The abilities are unchanged or something. But I don't know why they would say, like, don't worry, guys. World Eaters are still good at fighting in melee. I don't know. It feels like they're talking around stuff, but I have no idea. We'll see when the Codex gets fully released. So I guess, like, I don't know. Don't expect anything when it comes to their army ability, I suppose. The internet, yeah, it's literally impossible for the internet to have lied to people, for sure. Let's see. In terms of stratagems for the detachment rule, full throttle assault gives you disembark and move after the it gives you assault ramp is what it does. So you use it on a it's a little bit of weird timing. You use it on a rhino that has not moved yet. Then if you disembark from that rhino while the rhino has made a normal move, the unit that disembarked is eligible to charge. A little bit convoluted there, but we found a way. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Aggressive disembarkation. After you use it on a rhino that has not been selected to move, a World Eaters unit embarked in the rhino can disembark. When doing so, you can set up anywhere on the battlefield wholly within 6 inches of the rhino, and can be set up within engagement range of one of our enemy units. What the fuck? They just jump into melee. That's actually sick. So it has to be okay. So it has to be used before the World Eaters Rhino moves. It does let you like disembark 6 while you're engaged. So let's say, for example, that your Rhino is wrapped and you cannot disembark normally. You can pay a CP to auto disembark, then fall the Rhino back, or vice versa, even if you're not wrapped, right? But the only requirement is that the Rhino hasn't moved yet. So it doesn't matter what the status of the Rhino is. It can be engaged in melee. It can be about to do stuff. I think the biggest thing is that you can jump out of the Rhino into engagement range of people. While it's wrapped, which I think is cool. While the Rhino itself is engaged, which is actually sick. So it's really hard to, which is good, and I think this is really smart design because the army's going to play really aggressively. It's World Eaters, obviously. So it's an aggressive, Rhino rush. The downside of a really aggressive transport play is that your opponent could just like ring the transport, and then you're like, well, this sucks. You know, a big 10 or 20 man squad just like touching all the corners of a Rhino, and suddenly your unit can't get out. But obviously they're like they've foreseen that, and now your guys can jump out. And it's really hard to block them from jumping out because they can go directly into engagement range. So your capacity to stop them from setting up is really restricted. which is super cool. Who would win Angron or 5 guardsmen once in a wheelchair? You remember in 9th edition when they released an article that was like Angron can kill 42 guardsmen in a single activation, and it wasn't wrong. I remember. 9th edition was a trip, man. I like power hammer. The Cult of Blood is the other one. You gain Idols of Corn. Start of your command phase, select one of the Idols of Corn abilities listed below. Until the start of your next command phase, the ability is active and its effects apply to all Titanic and monster units from your army. So Demon Princes, Angron, Lords of Skulls, I guess. Well, a friendly Jackal or Goremonger unit is within 6 inches of the model, or 9 inches if it's Titanic. Nice, I like that. The Lord of Skulls gets an enhanced aura because it's a big, stupid, slow guy. Each time a model in the unit makes an attack, +1 to hit and wound with Jackals or Goremongers. It's sick. Let's go, dude. Idol of Burning Wrath. While a Jackal or Goremonger unit is within 6 inches of this model, add 1 to the move characteristic of models in that unit, and +1 to advance and charge. Is this like the is this just the jail detachment? We're moving so fast with Goremongers on turn 1. You just like run a Demon Prince up next to them, you infiltrate them super far up, and then you run a Demon Prince next to them, and they get +2 to their movement. Last one is Jackal or Goremonger within 6 inches of a 4+ invulnerable save. Oh no, it's back. Somebody called Josie Cartwright. It's back, dude. Oh man. And it's not models within 6 inches of the idol, it's the entire unit. Oh boy. That's a lot. They wouldn't fight first if they disembark to the strat. Yeah, correct. If it's not a charge move, they just are they fight in the fight normal step. And it sounds like Master of Executions no longer fight first, so there's like no ways around it. It seems like, but I mean, you also are probably charging that unit with something else first anyway, so I don't know. It's probably okay. The old cultist jail. Yeah, this detachment seems. If there are, I mean, you can give these guys lethal hits through blessings, right? Like they're never gonna do nothing in melee. And then you can also follow up with like actual good stuff. Also, you're almost certainly taking Angron and some number of Demon Princes, right? So like your damage output's there. This list seems incredible. Or this detachment is probably going to be pretty good. Infantry, World Age Infantry. You can attach to Jackals or Goremongers. And if you attach to Goremongers, you gain Infiltrators. Let's go. Oh, man. Yeah, that also helps their output if you just put Lord of Execution or Master of Executions inside. I guess we'll talk about it momentarily. This dude is not a leader, right? He is. Oh, no. Okay. All right. Interesting. So you can put that guy, you can embed that guy into Jackal units? Okay. Cool. And then it seems like the stratagems are gonna improve with your proximity to idols. So you can give Jackals or Goremongers 6+ feel no pain, and then improve that to a 5+ if they're near monster or Titanic units. Pretty good against 1 damage infantry sweeping, but not the most insane thing in the world. Obviously, not a bad stratagem to have, regardless. We'll see how Lord of Skulls do, but for sure, if you're rocking some number of Demon Princes and Angron, this might be a pretty solid detachment. It is a little unfortunate to me. Obviously, the invulnerable save doesn't really matter, but it's unfortunate that the idols themselves do not benefit from their own aura. because we're gonna need to have some. There needs to be an incentive for the idols too, right? Because otherwise you're spending lots and lots of points to buff jackals, which like no one really cares about. So I hope that there are enhancements and or stratagems in the detachment that makes like demon princes really strong. Because if all you're doing is taking a bunch of demon princes to make your jackals better, then like you might as well just be playing any other unit. But we'll see. Obviously, a million dudes to the 5+ feel no pain, 4+ vulnerable save is going to be a nightmare. So I think I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Explains why Emperor's Children have no cultists. World, he just recruited them. It's true. Yeah, World Age have 2 cultist units. I don't know. I guess like Emperor's Children do feel the loss of cultists a little bit. It doesn't feel like they have backline support quite as much as the other factions, but it's definitely not like the end of the world. Time for the gore tide, indeed. Somebody needs to call the Inquisition and recruit like random rejects to. We need a Psyker, 1 Imperial Guardsman, a big Ogren man, and Imperial Preacher so that they can kill the dozens and dozens of jackals they're about to have to fight. With their tiny swords. Berserker Warband is mostly unchanged. Extra pip of strength going to your X arm when you charge, so +1 attack, +2 strength now, which is just Liberator Assault Group. Interesting. Khorne Demonkin enlist the aid of Crimson Warp entities to build up Blood Tithe points before spending them to unlock powerful abilities that last until the end of battle. That's cool. They're like pacts. It's like pacts of Slaanesh. Possessed Slaughter Band just takes the demon guys. Okay, fair enough. Cool. All right, let's talk about this big fucking guy. So Mr. Slaughterbound here, please call me Slaughter. My Slaughterbound was my father. Is a new character. He's going to be attached into 8-bound or Exalted 8-bound. He grants them Deep Strike and C6 Scout because I believe that it's Exalted 8-bound and at least I think on the current data sheet have. Oh, who remembers this from yesterday? I still have that tab up. Let's go. Exalted 8-bound in the past have had Deep Strike. I don't know if they still have Deep Strike because I never see anyone Deep Strike them. Because you might as well just like run them at people with Lord Invocatus. Although it is on the rumor bill that Lord Invocatus no longer scouts people, which would make everyone sad, I guess. So yeah, currently Exalted 8-bound Deep Strike, standard 8-bound 6-inch Scout. It sounds like we're going to be losing access to 6-inch Scout other than standard 8-bound, but regardless of which he's attached into, he gains both, which is good. I mean, that's the more recent wording so that you don't accidentally lose your abilities when you attach into units, which is always good. The Death Guard Pox guy has a better base weapon. That's unironically true. Although this guy's probably going to have more ready access to buffs. So we'll see. Like in Berserker Warband, right? He's strength 10. He's 7 attack, strength 10, which is a lot more reasonable. It is awkward, like, if you compare him to the Exalted 8-bound unit champion, though, at least on his current profile, that dude's like, he's 1 less attack, but he's like almost double strength, +1 AP, twin linked. I don't know. That's a little weird. We'll see if that profile remains. I'm not sure. It is a little strange. He does have a Finest Hour, though. I think it's literally just Finest Hour. Start of the fight phase. Once per battle, you can get +3 attacks and you gain devastating wounds. No rerolls, though. So it feels a little bit weird, but he's swinging 9 times, which is like good. The weird part about this dude is that he looks like he's on like a 60, like a 50 or a 60. He's like a huge guy, but I think that he's really deceptive because he's just like a regular Chaos Lord. He's really fast, but he's not particularly hard to kill, right? T6, 6 wounds, 3+5 up. He's like a 1 wound above a regular Chaos Lord, essentially. And his weapon profile is basically just like infantry character weapon profile. And then the big benefit is that he can return models back to the unit. Also deadly demises, which is funny. Yeah, the 1 turn turbo boost is going to be good because, like, you can get him up to 10 attacks potentially if we're taking him in Berserker. And I'm sure that there are going to be enhancements that like work pretty well on this guy. Obviously, there's a whole detachment around around the possessed stuff. So I feel like that's where these guys are going to see a lot of play. I think that we aren't looking at the full picture here for this dude. He does feel really underpowered, I think. Especially for what you would expect him to be, because he's just outshone by his own unit champion, potentially, at least based on the current profiles. But I think we're missing so much context for him that it's hard to sort of really analyze the datasheet that much. If he's 90 points, would he be good? Probably. What do you pay for a Space Marine Captain? 80? He's probably 10 points over a Space Marine Captain. If you can find wound rerolls for him, I think he's pretty solid. Okay, Melee, if you have a whole Bloodthirster in you. Listen, all right? He's got a Bloodmaster, okay? He applied for the Bloodthirster possession, but he doesn't know how to write, so he didn't fill out the form correctly. And he got a trash like Corn Demon, like Corn Herald in him right there. All right, let's talk about the World Eaters rumors. I pulled these ones from Spiky Bits. So there's a little bit of like editorializing going on. I believe that the original source of the rumors is Blog for the Blog God. I couldn't find any other postings that summarized them, essentially. So I think that's where they came from. Apparently, so according to this, they lost advancing charge and feel no pain. Obviously, we're not sure about that. We'll see. On the bright side, the +2 movement buff is now built into many data sheets. Also, if you lose advance and charge and feel no pain, but you gain +2 movement and you also still have the +2 movement, blessing, I feel like that's kind of a side grade. Obviously, like advancing and charging is on average better, but it's less consistent than additional movement. So I don't know. They might just have really long base throat ranges now, and advancing and charging is like an Emperor's Children thing. It feels a little weird though, because it feels like having the less consistent version is like more World Eaters flavor, but I don't know. We'll see. Apparently they can gain devastating wounds from an enhancement, but also that's like the Warhammer community article kind of doesn't really imply that, or devastating wounds from a blessing, I should say. So I don't know. It's just like a grain of salt, the size of Alaska, with all that stuff. Who knows? Built in, it's not. Well, yeah, but that's not what the leak says, right? It says no more advance and charge, no more feel no pain. But like, what would you only have like 4 blessings? It would be like lethal, sustain, devastating, and those are the only blessings you can choose. Am I missing any? So if we look at like the old index, right? If they lose this one, and this one, and gain devastating, I guess the 4+ fight on death is the only one they would retain. So they would have lethal, sustain, devastating, fight on death. I don't know. That feels like that. That doesn't feel like almost no changes to me. That feels like a totally rewritten army ability. I don't know. That I would sort of be, I don't know. That would be weird. Yeah, I don't know, chat. I'm gonna stop talking about the army ability because, like, we literally have two different things to say, two entirely different things. So, I don't know what's true. Who cares? Berserker Warbands +2 strength, +1 attack on the charge. That's what the article said, so that's good. Gore Track Onslaught allows Berserkers to hop back into Rhinos after fighting. So it sounds like they're gonna get the Sky Splinter assault stratagem where they move towards a transport and then re-embark at the end of the fight, which seems great. Corn Demonkin lets you bring 1,000 points of demons. Pretty good. Blood Tithe points are inconsistent and tough to play around. I guess that's all that they said. No. No details. All right. Well, that sucks. Wish we got some information on that, but thanks, leaks. Angron had his resurrection nerfed. Yeah, from what people were saying, the resurrection now counts as a blessing of Khorne. Previously, you just spent your blood ties, your blessing dice, but you could still choose your 2 blessings on top of that if you got the correct set of rolls. Now, I guess that him respawning eats one of them, which makes it less consistent to roll, obviously, or it's already inconsistent to roll, but then you're also losing army buffs when you do so. Although, in fairness, if the army buffs suck, then, like, I don't know. It doesn't matter that much. No more army buffs for himself, and he's slower. Oof. If he's slower and loses advance and charge, yeah, that's not good. I do like where Angron was sitting. I think that they finally made like this like one-dimensional melee character an actually playable archetype because he has this ability to respawn. I imagine that they probably didn't like how like weirdly inconsistent he was, because sometimes he would just swing the game just simply by respawning really early, but you had literally no control over that. So yeah, I don't know. That feels bad though. 8-bound and Exalted 8-bound have clear distinct roles. It sounds like Exalted 8-bound are armor crackers. 8-bound are like more aggressive, sort of infantry sweepy. In Gore Track Onslaught, you can move vehicles through walls, so Hellbrutes can pull off 6 uses, consolidates, and apparently still have their fight on target. I'm very hesitant about this one. I mean, there's a couple of rumors in here that feel, and I think we talked about this on stream momentarily previously, but there's a couple of rumors in here that feel totally opposite of what the current like design ethos of the edition is. And one of the things that they have been stripping from the game are these fight on target abilities. Like every release that has had them has had it removed, right? Or toned down. And they've also like done quite a bit to like nerf their power level and redefine how they work. And I would be surprised if it remained unchanged from the index version. I'm not saying it couldn't have a fight on target, but I would be surprised if they retained the exact version of fight on target that they had previously. Especially when you have like army-wide 6-inch consolidates on every in every detachment. Like I don't know. I'm throwing a grain of salt, chat. I'm pressing X to doubt. But we'll see. Terminator is basically unplayable. Thanks. Welcome to all of 10th edition. I don't know. If you're not a Deathwatch guy or apparently Thousand Suns, you can't play Terminators. It's just how it works. Or that one list for Black Templars that uses them. Or I guess a Deathwing Knight. All right, we found a lot of different versions. Yeah, the 20-man Berserker rumor sounds weird too. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec. Slaughterbound, Diet 8-bound with healing powers and a deadly demise boom built in. Yeah, so that's been confirmed, obviously, by the article. So we are getting some stuff from the rumors that do look true. He does have healing powers. He does have deadly demise. Yeah, we'll see how he does. I think the big thing is going to be his ability to deliver like enhancements and attacks and stuff. Like he is, having between 9 and 10 attacks on a single platform. It's like if you can buff those attacks with enhancements, he goes crazy, right? But if you are just attacking normally, I think he's going to be like a little awkward. Karn, Fight on Death is now a maybe, not a guarantee. Yeah, he fought when he was destroyed, right? Was his like previous thing, and then he gave you real ones. But it might be on a roll now. Berserker Frenzy. If he was destroyed by a melee attack and does not fight this phase, he can fight after the attacking model is finished making his attacks. So that's, I guess, on probably like on a 2+ or something. Which I kind of hate. I like consistent abilities, but it is what it is. Base 8-inch move. Was he a 6 before? Yeah. Okay. Well, fair enough. That's okay, I guess. Invocatus reportedly has lost his scout aura, but it walks through walls. That was what he did previously. He used to have fly back in 9th edition. And then they took that away, which always felt weird. For just like being fast, I guess. But now he walks through walls, which is sweet. Hopefully he does something. Does he have any like actual abilities besides giving people scout? Oh, fall back and charge. Okay. Sick. I love that for you. Well, a little bit weird. Maybe his scout becomes a leadership ability. That's actually what I would put money on that, to be honest. That actually sounds pretty reasonable. And then he can attach to Exalted 8-bound or Corn Berserkers and give them scout. So it's like it's a tougher way to. It's less powerful, obviously, but still like gives him an identity. It'd be weird if he just like entirely was like reworked from the ground up, essentially. Still a cracks profile for points. Yeah, I mean he's good, right? But like, I don't know. Like without any army effect, like are you gonna take him for 140? I guess assuming he retains his own scout. I guess like maybe you do, and he's just like this utility guy. It feels like way weirder though. Like man has he's the same value as like Lucius. I guess he's faster, but he doesn't hit nearly as hard. I don't know. I would hope that I hope he does something. I hope they don't just like remove abilities from his data sheet and then call it a day. Master of Executions loses fight first, but earns you CP for character kills. It's a fair trade if you like to gamble. Okay. I think that's probably fair. Hopefully, so the problem with the Master of Executions right now is that he's the only. Oh, hey, demons, what's up? Is that he's the only. He's like the only foot infantry attachment. And so you don't have like there's no World Eater's Chaos Lord. There's only the Juggernaut Lord. And so you don't have any outlet for enhancements that can go into a transport. The problem is that because he had fight first, he was so ubiquitous that he kept getting points cost increases. Like the dude started at like 75 or something. And just like every update for a while went up in points. Hopefully, if he's just like a little character killer guy, you can cut him to like 70, or like 75 or something, and then he becomes like a little nuclear missile. And that's what I would prefer to see him. I always thought he was kind of weird that he was like this defensive piece, because he's like a man with a giant axe. Like, I feel like he wants to go hit stuff. And so I hope that that they redefine him in that way, and that he becomes like a good outlet for just like cool offensive enhancements, and he just goes and like punches people in the face. Anyway, that's what I hope for him. He has a cute head swap in the new Combat Patrol. Yeah, they have him on, I think, on the data sheet. They have him with a head swap, which I always thought was funny because like it's just a conversion. Like, it's not the actual model, and I don't think they've done that with anything else. Like, usually it's like they just repaint. They repaint the thing. Do I have his data sheet on my thing? I should. Oh shit. I do. GW and their searchable PDFs. Yeah, look at that guy. He's in the index like that. But that's not an official model, obviously. So they just posted a conversion on their datasheet. We're like, I don't know, it's good enough. Which I always thought was like I love it. I think he looks great. He looks way better than the regular Master of Executions, in my opinion. I don't like the bareheaded Chaos Space Marine guys. I always think they look silly. But I just think it's funny that like the official literature has a non-official model on it, because I don't think that has happened anywhere else. Beyond like using upgrade sprues and shit. Oh, they did do it with the Thousand Suns Terminator Sorcerer. That is true. Yeah. Yeah, most of the time they either do that or they just leave the datasheet blank, right? They just don't put a thing up there. You think there's like a Death Guard guy that does that? Probably not. I think the Death Guard just left their stuff blank. The Demon Prince's got new tricks. Winged one dishes out mortal wounds while soaring overhead. So it's like the bombing run thing. That's probably not super strong, but we'll see. Usually those are like on a normal move. You get to do mortal wounds. I guess if they can't advance and charge, it doesn't really matter what kind of move they do. The only time that those effects I think were playable were in Thousand Suns, when you could trigger them multiple times by using Temporal Surge. But I don't know. The Footsauger discounts stratagems nearby, which sounds like he's a Hive Tyrant, which means he's like, I think in a lot of detachments he's probably like an auto include. And if the rumors are true that their offensive outputs increase too, then this might be the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince book. I don't know. Did we finally find a way to make Foot Demon Princes playable? I think that would be shocking.
Ryan G donated $2 through Super Chat. DG Sorcerer Lord Termite datasheet pick is hysterical.
The Sorcerer Lord Terminator. You mean like the Terminator Sorcerer datasheet? Isn't it blank? Maybe I'm misremembering. The Chaos Lord and Terminator armor is empty. Yeah. Sorcerer and Terminator armor is just blank. It's not blank. All right, I don't know what you're talking about then. Thank you for the super chat though. Thank you. Berserkers apparently going down to strength 4 AP1, but you can take 20 of them. So that's like, I don't know. Additionally pressing X to down. because Games Workshop has done so much to mitigate 20-man units in 10th edition. It would surprise me if they just brought it back. Although it is like a classic 20-man unit, it would be like making Crusader squads, like limiting Crusader squads to 10, I guess, because that's like kind of the Imperium, like version, but I don't know. It would be weird. It would be a strange reversal of how they've been designing codexes up until now, which is a push towards smaller, more elite units in 10th edition rather than the big 20-mans. I mean, if Invocatus can grant Scout to his units, and you can attach him to Berserkers, like maybe that's a play where you just take like a big 20 brick and then they just like jail you. But also you have Goremongers now. Like, do you need that? I don't know. Kind of weird. Jackals base field no pain is gone, but they make great candidates for devastating wounds via blessings. Obviously, there's a rumor that blessings can grant devastating wounds, which again feels like more than not a change. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, that does feel good, and also lethal hits is always good on the Jackals as well. So that's always sweet. Chaos Spawn gains Scout, Advance in Charge, and a Feel No Pain. They already had the Feel No Pain. They could get Advance in Charge through the blessings, but they had a 4+ Feel No Pain previously. So Scout and Advance in Charge certainly good for utility stuff. Like it gives you outs for like engage in all fronts on turn 1, which is huge. Obviously, they're probably between move 8 and move 10, and so a Scout move 8 is good to grab center objective secondaries on turn 1. I guess the big question is whether or not they retain their OC like the Emperor's Children ones do. It feels to me like they have learned their lesson with the Chaos Spawn with Emperor's Children, because as soon as they reduced them to OC 0, the unit became like almost literally unplayable. They used to get played pretty often in Chaos Space Marines, and then they dropped to OC 0, and they went from being like a cool little wiggly arm boy that you could use to do secondaries that was kind of hard to kill, to being like having actually no utility within the army. And I think keeping them at OC 1 is such a huge change. We'll see. Also, like, we're staring down the barrel of a new mission pack, so we'll see if the OC 0 action thing remains. I imagine it will, but we'll see. But I don't know. Send me a pic of the Sorcerer Lord. Yeah, I don't use the app. I'm not an app guy. Oh. Is this? Can I open? So, I guess that one in the Death Guard Terminator Sorcerer in the app is a Word Bearer's Sorcerer, right? Is that the one on the Chaos Space Marine datasheet? I bet it is. And they just reused the same picture? It is, yeah. So they just, because it's the same kit, I imagine that they just used the picture. They're like, this is the kit you use, so who cares? We don't have to worry about that anymore, because apparently he's disappearing into the ether. But that's, I would imagine, the rationale behind that. All right, where were we at? Yeah. Ramping things up. Mauler Fiends and Predators get bonuses against weak targets. I think that the Mauler Fiends used to do that. It sounds like Predators do now as well. Although the rumor that I read, which this doesn't include, which is interesting, was that all of the Death Guard shooting got a ballistic skill penalty, but a special ability. So apparently they all went to 4+ ballistic skill, but I guess are getting like the Mauler Fiends. Like, oh, this is the Chaos Space Marine one because I'm in the Chaos Space Marine Index. They got the Mauler Fiends blood sent into wounded stuff, which is actually kind of sweet. And it very much changes how World Eaters approach their ranged attacks, which I think is appropriate. It also makes World Eaters less capable as a ranged force. I think there maybe was at least in the previous version, when you could +2 movement the entire army, there was like a little bit of a there's a typo on this. I just noticed. Oh, one of these brackets is not like the others. One of these brackets just doesn't belong. Because you could speed everything in the army up really instantaneously, there's like a little bit of a danger that if you just kept like baseline Space Marine weapon profiles, you could make a not like good, but a not terrible like gun line out of World Eaters, which I don't think is how they want the army to be played. And so giving them like different abilities that make it more difficult for you to play like a very aggressive gun line, I think is really interesting. The other thing that I saw was that the World Eaters Forge friend, which currently forces enemies to take a battle shock test, which is like, all right, you can't interrupt, I guess. Except I'm shooting you with my gun before I charge you, so like you're about to pull out of range of me to charge you, so I'm just like losing the game. It was really bad ability, but he was really cheap, so it didn't really matter. Apparently, they get -1 ballistic skill, but they get rapid fire in their guns, which is kind of sick, actually. So they just hit way harder. So I think you could maybe like find a way to turn Forge Fiends into an initiator for like more gun stuff, which I think could be interesting. Also, if Hellbrutes can reactive fire like infinite times, like there's something to be said there too. Rumors the Land Raider has 4 shot cannons with ballistic skill 4. See, that's rad. I like that. I don't know. I like this when stuff gets to be slightly different, especially because like they probably have no rerolls whatsoever, right? In shooting, so it will be hard to actually convert with those attacks. Rhinos got real spicy. Reactive disembark and better objective holding. So according to this, I guess Rhinos have like an OC buff, and then they can disembark when attacked. That's sick. That's super cool. I wonder if they're so the Emperor's Children Rhinos right got a special ability but lost self repair. I wonder if that's what they're going to do here too. Extra objective control is actually huge for Rhinos. If you could blank one OC2 enemy. That actually like very, very dramatically changes how Rhinos get played. Because right now they're just OC2, which means that a single battle line infantry blanks them. But if it takes more than one, it's actually much more difficult to engage with them. It's kind of neat. I love that. So, I don't know. I think both of these, obviously, big grain of salt on the rumors, but between World Eaters and Death Guard. Death Guard, obviously, we have a little bit more of a view on because we actually know what their army ability is. World Eaters, obviously, getting entirely conflicting reports. Either it's going to be largely the same with just some tweaked dice values, or it's going to be like literally an entire rewrite from the ground up. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of what we're talking about right now is very dependent on what that looks like. It does feel so. Let's take a quick peek here at our existing possessed guys. So like looking at the Slaughterbound, he's a base movement of 10, whereas our previous 8-bound units are moved 9. And I would imagine that he has a similar profile to them, similar like top line profile to them. So I don't know if like the rumor that everything gets +2 movement is necessarily correct, because it seems like those guys would probably be move 9 or move 11 most likely if they just had the speed buffs built in. But it also sounds like the like base infantry are going up in speed as well as the Terminators and stuff. So I don't know what to think. I think we got to see the actual army ability before we make any sort of decisions. Favorite thing about Orc range damage? It hits on 5s. They have cracks profiles. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, buffing attack volume in exchange for ballistic skill is definitely like a fun design. Sort of design avenue, I guess. The awkward part is that when you increase attack volume, you also increase maximum damage. So your capacity to spike really high is higher, which is a little bit scary, but we'll see. See how it goes. Right. Well, so the leak says that. I mean, I guess it's not that the buff is like in every data sheet, but it is built into many data sheets. But like, I don't know. It's I guess like it's built into data sheets like asterisk, like a whole thing. Anyway, chat. I'm flagging a little bit, but that's all the stuff that we have so far. I don't know if I could I don't have any really opinions on these right now. We'll see what they look like. The Death Guard stuff really looks interesting. The World Eaters, if all of the rumors are true, feels like a wild downgrade, but obviously I think that the actual truth is somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's entirely that they're just getting like pooped on across the board, but we'll see, which would be sad, obviously. I will be live momentarily or in a couple of hours over on Twitch, 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, so about 2 hours from now. I'm going to be live. We're going to play a wild and weird experimental army from Chaos Demons that I put together. We are playing in a team event. We're doing really poorly. I'm bad at team events, and I was kind of out of practice, so we lost a couple rounds. But fortunately, this team event's really casual, quote-unquote casual. And allows list changes each round. So I would like experimenting with some stuff. So we're playing this really weird demon army into Imperial Knights. Probably going to get run over, but I do have a bunch of Ren Masters, which is cool. So we'll see if those guys could get some work done. But yeah, come join me for that over on Twitch. Otherwise, I will be live over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for the ATC Tampa. I am going to be leaving on Thursday, bright and early Thursday morning, to get down there and set up on Friday. So it's gonna be a lot of work. So please come check me out on stream over there. I really appreciate it if you do. And obviously, as always, stay tuned for more content on the channel as the week goes on. And with that, let's go ahead and wrap up. So cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching. Have happy wargaming and all that stuff. And I will see you on Twitch in just a couple hours. Cheers.